I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. A feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight.
Well, good evening, I should say. It's not good night. We haven't even started yet, Bob.
That's the shortest show ever.
No, we're out of here. Welcome to the Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. This is Irish Bill with Seminole Bob to my right. We're going to have Coach Walls and Navarre quarterback Hunter Feaster on a little bit later in the show. Big game coming up this week. It's not a district game, but this rivalry is starting to get to be a rivalry between Mosley and Navarre.
It is. And, you know, you want Navarre, if you're head coach Walls and his staff, you want to keep the momentum up. And, you know, you heard Coach Walls last week. Excuse me. They needed the bye week to get some people healed up. We're going to have running back Anthony, our fullback back off injury.
Anthony Gasaway is going to be back.
Yeah.
They were talking about Gasaway a couple weeks ago that he was projected to come back this week.
And
that will allow Spence to just play on the defensive side of the ball. But they will have some set-up plays for Spence running out of the Black Pearl.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, Mosley has been up and down, Bill, all year. They're kind of like having the flu, you know. High fever, low fever, high fever, low fever. And then, was it 2 weeks ago, they lost a Thursday game to Wakulla.
Well, Wakulla is one of the better teams in the Panhandle and the Big Bend region.
Right. And so.
But when they get the offense rolling, they had back-to-back 60-point games early in the season.
They did, yep.
Against Bay and I got the other team here real quick. And I believe it was Arnold. I believe you are correct. Bay was 62-7. Arnold was 68-0. So they can put some points on the board. Like Navarre, there's a lot of youth on this Mosley team. And their quarterback back for his second year. It'll be a junior, Sam Freitas. Had a big game against Navarre last year. Their big defensive end, Raiden Bruins, guy's like 6'7", comes off the corner, still only a junior. He's still growing. But they got a very young team coached by Bobby Joe Whidden.
Yeah.
Transferred over from Washington High a couple of years ago. And he turned the Washington program around very quickly. And not that Mosley needed to be turned around, but he is heading them in the right direction now.
Yeah, most definitely. Definitely the best team in Panama City. You say,
it's been kind of a down year for Panama City teams other than Bozeman.
Yeah, I mean, North Bay Haven's been up and down. But, yeah, Arnold's rough year. Rutherford's rough year. Bay had kind of a comeback year a year or two ago, and they're down.
They actually beat Mosley last year.
They did. And I don't know if this is the Hurricane Michael hangover, Bill, or, you know, with kids leaving the area. I don't know if it's a military thing. But anyway, we'll have our hands full, no doubt, Friday night. Homecoming.
Well, since you kind of didn't show up last night, he had a good reason. He had an excused absence. He had a signed letter from his mother saying that he was excused. Epstein's mother.
Yeah, Yeah, I've been called that.
You've been called a lot worse.
Called worse, too. Right now it's Father Time. Broadcast or do the public address
for the middle school football team.
The Emerald Coast Middle School Stingrays. We played a game last night against North Bay Haven. They are also the Buccaneers. Huge kids. Oh, my gosh. They are technically a K-12 school, so some of these middle schoolers can play varsity if they wish, and built-wise, they probably could handle it physically. We beat them 28-0.
Nice.
So we play the winner of Walton Middle and North Bay Haven. Their game earlier this year got washed out because of the storm.
And you feed into the South Walton High School program, right?
Yeah, we sure do. And the Hawks, you hear Carter Hawk is kind of our
Carson.
Yeah.
QB for, yep.
Yeah, and Hugh Boudreau, who is now at Destin Charter.
Doing quite well as well.
His dad played at LSU, by the way.
I thought that name sounded familiar.
Yeah. Hugh started at South Walton, then went to Niceville for a year or two, and now is at Destin Charter with head coach E.G. Green. Hugh played for Emerald Coast back in the day. In fact, I taught Hugh and his little brother. Anyway, make a long story short, the winner of that game is going to be played Monday. We'll play them Thursday in the championship game. So
you got a busy week next week.
Yeah.
Monday, football game. Tuesday, show. Wednesday, show. Thursday, football game. Friday, well, no, you're going to be out of town next week.
Right. So Monday, I'm not doing that game, but fortunately, I have off. But yes, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're out of town at a teachers' convention down in Orlando. So Wally Pipp is going to get replaced again.
Yeah. As long as Paul, I think, got the okay for next Friday night up in Milton.
My apologies. So next Thursday, ECMS will play either North Bay Haven or Walton Middle for the championship of the conference.
Sounds like a plan. Well, speaking of plans, every week I plan about this time to let you know who Irish Bill's Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings, large schools and small schools, 1 through 7, and our players of the week, offensive, defensive, and special teams.
And you go from the state line, Pensacola, to basically Panama City area.
And north. I stop at Gadsden County before
Right.
we get to Tallahassee, the Big Bend region.
Right.
Gadsden County people probably say they're probably in the Big Bend region, but they don't get any love, so Irish Bill's going to show them a little love. So this week's 1 through 7, Niceville 1, Escambia 2, Pace and 3. They looked impressive in that second half against Gulf Breeze.
Sure did.
Choctaw stays at 4, Pine Forest at 5. In fact, everybody pretty much stays intact from last week. Navarre at 6 and Mosley at 7. Your small schools, Walton up top, 5-0. That game in a couple of weeks, Walton Catholic is going to be a doozy. That's going to be for the district title.
Probably so.
Catholic 2, Mariana 3. They dropped after losing not even a close game against Godby.
Yeah.
Holmes County 4, West Florida drops to 5. Destin stays at 6, Bozeman at 7. Both those teams are still undefeated, along with Walton. So you have 3 undefeated teams in the small schools. There's nobody undefeated in the large schools anymore. And our player of the week, we're going to have to get in our car, drive down Highway 98, just a few miles down to the east, and we're going to see him this Friday night as they come west to Navarre. Wide receiver Jack Massey from Mosley High. He had 7 receptions for 169 yards and 3 touchdowns last week in their win over Childs, a 21-14. In fact, he had all 3 of their touchdowns. Our defensive player of the game is from Bay High, our Darian Bryant with 14 tackles. And our special teams player of the game, we went with the return guy once again, even though he probably had consideration for defense because he also had 15 tackles on defense. But an 88-yard kickoff return by Wyatt Scruggs from Northview. Those are our players of the week. And
good picks.
Rightly deserved.
Yep.
I mean, there's another. I mean, guys, I looked at some of the numbers. West Florida's Jack Nicholas, 21-29, 365 yards, 4 touchdowns.
John Nicholas.
John Nicholas. I was saying Jack Nicholas.
You did. The Golden Bear.
The Golden Bear, my favorite all-time golfer.
Yep. John
Nicholas. Gulf Breeze Battle Alberson. We saw him in person. Kind of took a beating, but he still put up some pretty good numbers. But the guy that's been most consistent of all is Escambia's Anthony Hall. 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown as well. And the guy we're going to get to see this week for the second year in a row on 6 October, because last year was on a Thursday, which was 6 October.
Okay.
And now we're going to play him Friday, which is a 6 October. So we're going to get to see Sammy Freitas from Mosley again this week. And you mentioned South Walton's Carson Hawk had a good game last week as he accounted for 4 touchdowns, 2 passing and 2 rushing. Our other receiver from West Florida, Marquise Jones, had 10 receptions last week for 164 yards and a score. Running backs, Cottondale's Jacarian Garrick seems to be consistently showing up on our radar every week. 27 carries, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns. Northview's Joe Wright, the fifth. 25 carries, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 12 tackles on defense. And Bozeman's Chance Jenkins had 192 yards on 15 carries and 2 touchdowns and 2 receptions and another score through the air. Our tacklers, Mariana's Waylon Snellgrove, 16 tackles. Already talked about Wyatt Scruggs, 15 tackles, 14 from Rowan Maldonado. He's been pretty consistent for the Dolphins down there in Gulf Breeze.
Yep.
And our kickers, just not enough to get by the return game this week. The Pace's Caleb Nelson, a perfect 7 for 7. South Walton's Cooper Catalayer, 5 for 5, 1 for 1 field goals. Scambia's Morgan Stancliffe, 5 for 5. And Walton's Maston Joyner, 4 for 4. He missed a field goal. It was like a 50-yarder at the end of the game that would have won it, but it went, and they ended up winning late, 34-31. They held on against West Florida. So there is our Panhandle Power Rankings, top 7. Niceville, Escambia, Pace, Choctaw, Pine Forest, Navarre, and Mosley. Small schools, Walton Catholic, Mariana, Holmes County, West Florida, Destin, and Bozeman.
You mentioned South Walton. They go on the road. Phil Teza heads to Joe Etheridge Stadium.
Tough matchup for
Friday
them
night
coming this week.
against Choctaw.
Choctaw off that defeat to Niceville a couple of weeks ago. Had their bye week last week, if I remember right.
Right.
And they're ready to get back on winning ways at home. In fact, our lineup this week, Mosley at Navarre, Northview at Baker, Pine Forest at Niceville, which should be a good game Friday night. Catholic at Gulf Breeze. Tomorrow night, the Pace Pensacola game will be on Thursday night instead of Friday night. And I think Pensacola probably wouldn't want to even play this game. But they will. They got their first touchdown last week, Bob.
But you know what Coach used to say? That's why
we play the game. Childs at Crestview. That's a district matchup. Mariana at Walton should be a pretty good game.
Yep.
West Florida at Tate, another good game. That is my upset pick of the week.
Do you think
took Tate.
Mariana was looking ahead?
Possibly, but that Godby has struggled most of the year. But they've won
What's
back
up with
to back.
that?
They've won back-to-back games now. South Walton at Choctaw, Lincoln at Leon, another solid game in Tallahassee. Arnold at Rutherford, the battle of really who doesn't care. I shouldn't say that.
You just did.
It's a battle of teams that are really having a hard time putting points on the board. Florida High at Carrollwood Day. So they're going to have to make the trip down to Tampa this week.
Tampa Bay, yep.
St. John Paul II at Wakulla. Destin at Bozeman. Battle of undefeated teams, 6-0. Destin against 5-0 Bozeman. So for the second straight week, Destin has to play an undefeated team.
Right.
Monroe Day at Baker County. Holmes County at Jay. Osceola Christian at Rocky Bayou, Port St. Joe at Vernon, Sneads at Bluntstown, Cottondale host in Franklin County, North Florida Christian going across town to FAMU, Jefferson County at Gadsden County, Weewaw heading to Liberty County, and Hamilton County heading to Taylor County. Sounds like the counties have it this week.
Taylor County.
And your open weeks this week, Bay, Chipley, Escambia, Fort Walton, Freeport, Graceville, Madison County, Milton, and North Bay Haven, and Rickards.
You say you're geographically challenged. Excuse me.
I can be. I'm height challenged as well.
Can you name the counties named after presidents in Florida?
Jackson.
Yep. You just said one, too.
Franklin.
He wasn't a president.
Oh. Franklin Pierce was. Number 19.
Yeah.
I did learn something in presidents that day. I was paying attention that actually it's from teaching those all the Brooke and Brady on the trips that we went on. We go over the presidents and vice presidents, their wives, and all that. And
Taylor County.
Washington.
Yep.
Where Vernon and Chipley.
Yep.
Going down, we'd have to go down central, probably in south for more.
How about Boot Hill?
Boot Hill, you got Madison County. And
Taylor County.
We went over to when Miles College played Lane College over in Jackson, Tennessee. It was named after Andrew Jackson.
The man.
And
Monroe County.
But you know what? We've gone by our first segment already, Bob. It's time to go to commercial break, our first one on the night. So we'll be back after this commercial break after these words from our sponsors.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
All Dry is 100% veteran-owned and operated. They have a proven process that guarantees customer satisfaction along with job completion to industry standards. In addition to water and mold remediation, they hold certifications in fire and smoke odor control cleanup, trauma, crime scene, and biohazard cleanup. If you're in the Gulf Coast region, including areas in Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi, you can rely on All Dry 24/7, 365. And you can find them on the World Wide Web at www.myalldry.com/Gulf Coast region.
Thinking about selling your property? Call Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Realty in Navarre now. The consultation is free, and Ursula uses the best tools the industry has to offer. Her years as a top producer, relocation specialist, and Florida military market specialist will help you get the desired result. If you are buying, Ursula's experience will help you make an informed decision to find the right home for you. And if you mention this advertisement, Ursula will donate $100 to the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club when the deal closes. To find out if you qualify for any of the military rewards, call or text 850-642-5711 or email ursula.householder@cbrealty.com or go to urhouseholderhomes.com. That's urhouseholderhomes.com. Go Raiders!
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
Everybody can hear me. We're back at Buffalo Wild Wings, the Jay Walls Coaches Show. We thank Buffalo Wild Wings for hosting us in their inaugural year as one of our sponsors. We certainly thank them and all our sponsors. Next to me is head coach Jay Walls, now in his 12th year. Seems like
I think so.
50th year.
It's been a bunch.
At the head man at Navarre. Start on a somber note. This is a tough week in Raiderland. Lost one of your former players. You coached, Will Sutter.
Yes.
This week.
Yeah, Will was here, I think, in 2012, my first season. I think he was a senior that year. What a great guy. Just really always a smile on his face. Always there, team guy, and I understand that he had joined the military and was really doing well, married, just had a child, and, just sad to hear about his accident, and, definitely tough situation right there.
Yeah, it is. Will and his brothers and sisters grew up at the YMCA in our child care program, so I knew the Sutter family. His dad and family go to St. Sylvester's, and so it was a tough week. Our prayers to the family on behalf of Bill and I, Coach.
Absolutely.
I just can't fathom. I mean. But, Will would want us to go on. I heard from a good friend of yours and mine, Coach Adams, Alex Adams, who coached him, I believe, and said just one of the nicest kids he'd ever coached.
Yes.
And I think you can echo that.
Yeah.
But I think Will would want us to go on, to press ahead, to do our best as a Navarre Raider. Talk about the open week. How'd it go?
We won. Yeah, we won open.
And you covered the spread.
Yeah, I think we had a good open week. Last week we practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and out of those 3 days, the guys really did a good job on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now Thursday they were a little loose. They knew, there really wasn't anything, going on Friday, so. Wasn't a bad practice, but certainly, a little loose that day. But this week is game week, and our guys have done a good job. I thought we practiced really well on Monday. Yesterday we were inconsistent, but there were some good moments in practice, offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game. And then today I thought we had a good practice. We talked to them about, hey, we need to step it up. It's game time. We can't lose that momentum, can't lose that fire, that edge that we had, the last time we played. And so they responded well today.
Since we started out 0-2, the offensive explosion, talk about that.
Well,
you scored 40 points 3 games in a row.
Yeah, we I haven't really – thought about how many points we scored, but even in the first game, we did score some points, and offensively we've been pretty good running the football, and we're not bad throwing the ball. We feel like we have a lot of playmakers, so certainly a strength and something that we gotta continue with.
Right.
If we're going to be successful this Friday night against Mosley. We're going to have to do the same thing. We've got to have success running the ball. We've got to have success throwing the football. We can't be one-dimensional. We've got to sustain drives. Last time we played against Carroll, offensively, we didn't turn the ball over.
Right.
We were 100%, 5 out of 5 touchdowns in the red zone.
Oh,
that's the kind of football we got to play to beat
Yes.
a good team like Mosley.
Yeah, they've been kind of up and down in the year, but they are a strong team. Bobby Joe Witten
Yeah.
is their head man. Came over from Washington, former Niceville High School quarterback. So let's talk about Mosley this week. Sam Freitas, the junior. He's got an explosive wide receiver, 160-plus yards last week, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, number one. He's fast, really good player. I went and watched the game, and they certainly look good in person. Offensively, they got a big O-line. Their quarterback runs the football well, throws the football well. He's got 2 really good targets, and number 1 and also number 2 is a really good receiver. And they've got more guys than that. They've got some tight ends that are really big, number 9, number 31, really big athletic guys. So, I think offensively, they've got the tools to run the ball and throw the football. So defensively, we're going to have to get them, into throwing the ball more than, what they want to do. And that's going to be a tough task. But, I feel like our guys have really practiced hard defensively and improved each week. I think we have a good game plan. I just see what we're doing. When we practice, we run 2 scout teams. We call it 2 huddles, and I run one of the huddles, and Coach Gannis runs the other huddle. So we see the plays that we've got to defend, and we see what our defense is doing, and you just see good execution as far as everybody in their gap, all our fits, guys, taking care of their responsibility. So, that's one thing about Mosley is their offense is pretty good defensively. They play sound physical football. They base out of a 3-4. Okay. They'll play a 4-man front. They look better to me against Childs than they have all year defensively. It seems like they've kind of settled down and figured out what they need to do personnel-wise and scheme-wise, and they're really playing some good ball. They held Childs to 14 points. And Childs, they're a physical team. I know their head coach really well, Bill Reagans, and I know what kind of job he does. And I know they're a well-coached team, and I know they're physical. And Mosley played a good game against them.
Was Coach Reagans at Walton at one time?
No. Bill Reagans has coached on the college level. He started out, he played at FSU. Played safety at FSU.
Oh, that's right.
Back in the late 80s. Started coaching there, I think, in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Also coached at Valdosta State. And then from there got into high school coaching in Tallahassee. He coached with me one year at Sewanee. That was, I believe, 2000. We coached together. He coached our secondary on defense and then also helped with some offense. At Sewanee, we had to coach everything. Everybody coached both sides of the ball. And anyway, I've known Bill for a long time. Mm-hmm. Great guy. His wife, Steph, great people, and his kids, just a real good friend.
Mosley, it's not a district game.
Right.
It's homecoming.
Yep.
Lots of distractions.
Well,
you got this day, dress up day, this day, dress up day, decorate the lockers, halls all. How do you keep them focused?
It's just part of it, and it's stuff that they're doing before school and during school. We just try to remind our guys, hey, have fun, get involved in the stuff that's going on during school. But when the school day's over now, let's get our mind on football. Because everybody that's coming to the game, they're coming to find out who the queen is, the homecoming queen and the king, and, come back and see the Raiders play. But everybody wants to see the Raiders win.
That's
so
right.
We need to take care of our responsibility and get ready, for a big game, homecoming game at home against a good opponent.
Tough stretch. Mosley.
Yeah.
Pace. Milton.
Yep. Gulf Breeze,
Yeah.
Niceville.
Yeah.
Yeah, who came up with this schedule? Yeah, it's just part of it.
The district.
Yeah.
You got to play the district games.
Yep.
Yeah. No chance that kids are looking ahead.
No. We don't ever really say anything, about upcoming opponents, beyond who we're preparing for each week. Of course, the kids, they know. They watch the prep football final.
Oh,
and they see all the stuff on social media. So they know what's going on with all the teams. And so, they're aware. But as far as our preparation, our focus, it's all on Mosley right now.
It's funny you mentioned for Mosley, number 1 and number 2. That's who we had to keep an eye on in the Carroll game. Number 1 and number 2, their quarterback and running back. Something Coach Bagley said, you can't practice against speed.
Yeah.
So you said they have their wide receivers have speed.
Yeah.
Good quarterback, fairly mobile, maybe not as mobile as the Pace quarterback, but maybe not as speedy as other teams we played.
At number 7, their quarterback, he's pretty athletic. To me, you can tell he knows their offense. He started last year for them, returning starter, and he's just a scrappy kid. He plays hard. He runs the ball hard. When he throws it, you can tell he's being aggressive. He's just, you can tell he's a competitor.
What kind of offense? You mentioned defense, 3-4, maybe switch back to the 4-3. What about offense? What do they run out of?
That they're multiple formation. There are some similarities with what they do and what we do offensively. You're going to see, no tight end, 3 or 4 wides. You're going to see a tight end. You may see, 2 or 3 tight ends in the ball game. They're going to run. Misdirection, plays run-wise. They're going to throw the football, play action, RPOs. They're going to throw the ball deep. It's a wide-open attack.
Mm-hmm. Talking about Joe Witten's kind of used to that. He did it very well at Washington.
Yep, great coach.
I got to ask you about one of the kids brought it up a couple of weeks ago. This thing you do before the game. Your meal plan, Salisbury steak. Where did that?
That's old school. That's just like something. I think we did that way back. When I played. Maybe in high school, college. Although college, we played a lot of day games. So
yeah, we had Salisbury steak in our house.
Yeah,
growing up, and that was once a week.
Yeah. So we're not superstitious, but we'll go with what works. And since we started eating it this year, we started winning, so we're going to stick with it. But, the kids, I think most of the kids like it. I think that most of the coaches like it. It's something we've done forever, so.
I thought it was just him. It's the whole team.
For the longest time, and I think I asked Connor last week.
Yeah.
Salisbury steak, and he kind of just shook his head.
Yeah.
Quickly about your other side of the ball. Coach Bagley went over the defense very well. Your linebackers, 3 juniors there, just phenomenal. Villanova, Spence.
Yeah, they're all guys that are either juniors or sophomores. 3 juniors, 4 juniors counting Mason Baker.
Right.
And then also Logan Hand has been playing some outside linebacker. So all those guys, you see them getting better every week. They're playing really hard. I mentioned about, when we run the scout team, we get to see them, execute the defense. You see our linebacker fits improving.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing some good football.
Are you a coach that likes to be down on the field? Or are you a coach that, speaking of old school, you've seen college and high school coaches get up in the –
No, I'm not up in the tower or just standing on the side. I want to be involved. I want to coach. I want to, just to me, just, being in there, being on the field, being involved in the phases that we're working on, it just keeps me involved. It keeps me in touch. It keeps me focused. And I love coaching. I don't want to stand on the sideline and watch. So
was that line from Remember the Titans? This is my cathedral, or something like that.
Well, I look forward to every day being able to get on the practice field, and I look forward to our meetings, workouts. I look forward to, certainly Fridays. I've been, football is something I've been doing since I was 5 years old. So what else is there?
So it is homecoming.
Yep.
No long bus ride to Alabama.
Right.
Comfy confines at Bennett C. Russell. Your own locker room. Get home at a fairly decent hour. The kids must like playing at home a lot. Big advantage.
Good
crowd.
I think they do, love. We have a great atmosphere. A lot of, the school, the community, everybody's involved. And, knock on wood, we've been winning, so it's homecoming too. Everybody will be fired up.
Finally, keys to the game. Navarre's going to win if ...
As I mentioned, offensively, we're going to have to sustain drives, protect the ball. When we get opportunities, we got to get touchdowns. Most of the time, I feel like the kicking game is always a big part of a win. We've got to come up with some big plays in the kicking game. We haven't scored a touchdown in the kicking game this year yet, so this would be a great time to do it.
Year.
Yeah. So, and I know it's coming. We're really close, and we really put a lot of work into it. I just think we got to come up with some big plays in the kicking game. And then the big thing defensively is, they've got some playmakers. They're going to make some plays, but we've got to limit the big play. Yep.
I said it was last injuries. Anthony Gassaway.
He's back. He'll be back, and hopefully we'll be able to get him on the field Friday night. And I'm excited about it because he's been dealing with that injury with his knee, and he's feeling really good. He's not in shape as far as 100% in shape, but injury-wise, he's good to go. He's 100% there.
So we're fairly clean on the injury front?
We are healthy.
How's Coach Walls?
I'm good. Yeah. I appreciate you asking.
Yeah. That's head coach Jay Walls, the head man at Navarre High School. Homecoming, 3-2, looking for our win number 4. Then the district schedule really heats up. I feel good about our chances. That's a line out of some movie, but I really feel good about our chances of running the table. I look at it the way we're playing. If we can cut down on turnovers and penalties, every team says that.
Sure.
I think we can run the table.
Well,
get you another district conference win.
That's we're working for that. We're going to take it 1 week at a time.
I like that answer.
Yep.
That's head coach Jay Walls of the Navarre Raiders. Let's take a break. Coach, again, thanks so much.
Thank you, Bob.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raiders Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track, whether it's seeing to it that they're properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can watch and hear all exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, Before Field to Fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
All Dry is 100% veteran-owned and operated. They have a proven process that guarantees customer satisfaction along with job completion to industry standards. In addition to water and mold remediation, they hold certifications in fire and smoke odor control cleanup, trauma, crime scene, and biohazard cleanup. If you're in the Gulf Coast region, including areas in Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi, you can rely on All Dry 24/7, 365. And you can find them on the World Wide Web at www.myalldry.com/Gulf Coast region. Welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wings for the Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. Joining me for this segment is Navarre quarterback Hunter Feaster. Welcome to the show, Hunter.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I got a bunch of stats that I kept over the years. Kind of become the Navarre historian. Do you know how close you are to breaking the all-time touchdown record at Navarre?
I do not.
Well, the leader is Marlon Courtney, who is a couple of years before you. He has 34. You're at 30 right now. Did you know you were that close?
I did not, no.
Maybe I shouldn't have brought it to your attention. But, yeah, you're that close, and right now you're number 5 all-time in career passing yards, besides some guys that had some pretty big numbers, Matt Webb, Marlon Courtney. Back in the middle 2000s, Austin Grimm, Sage Chambers, and you're coming in at number 5 all-time. It's kind of pretty rare, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've been on the varsity team since you were a sophomore. Got some playing time. I think you threw for 4 touchdowns your sophomore year, 19 last year as a junior. Each year, I mean, what have you concentrated on to getting a little bit better going into each season?
Probably reading defenses better, tendencies, and definitely the biggest one, probably slowing down the game, not really thinking like sporadically and just trying to execute the offense and not do too much. Just try and do what I'm coached to do, go through reads, and just execute how I'm supposed to.
One thing that's been nice along the way, you have a young man to throw to, Terrence Marshall. Yeah. It seems like Terrence was out the first couple of games. You didn't have your go-to guy there. Even though Tyrell was filling in and Darius was doing a great job coming off the basketball court, once Terrence stepped on the field, it's like you guys had that instant connection once again.
Yeah, I mean, when Terrence is on the field, it's a whole nother offense is what I always say to him.
And you guys have played a lot of 7-on-7 together over years for Coach Dwayne, a 7-on-7 team. How has that 7-on-7 helped you?
7-on-7 is really just like it's only passing, so it's a really good tool to help read defenses. That's all really 7-on-7 is.
So you're basically been playing football 365 7 days a week since you were a sophomore.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So not too much free time on your schedule. Coming into this 2023 season, what goals did you have set for yourself? Was it more team goals, or was there any personal goals that you were trying to establish here in 23?
It wasn't any like personal goals. It was really just team goals and trying to get that district championship again, make it as far as we can in the playoffs. And, I mean, not really any personal goals.
That's good. Most of the players on Navarre are team-oriented, and that's why Coach Walls has been so successful. You dropped those first couple of games. A tight one to Catholic, could have easily won. Pine Forest, we struggled a little bit. What was the mood in the locker room going into the third game?
We definitely had something to prove. We knew we were a lot better than how we performed week 1 and week 2. And, I mean, we kind of just knew. I mean, with Terrence coming back too, we knew that things were about to start clicking.
Just so happened to be Rickards coming in, where you had probably one of your better games against Rickards last year over there in the rain.
Yeah.
On that that's an ugly blue field.
Yeah.
That is hard to look at when you're broadcasting the game. I don't know how hard it is during the game playing, but you had a really good game, and just so happens when Terrence came back, that was your opponent, was Rickards. Yeah. You guys did a pretty good number on them as well. You go into that tight game, the first district game against Tate, back and forth. And then Tyrell comes up with the big play at the end for the win. To get you that first district win. Got a tough road ahead of you. You got Mosley this week, a very young team like Navarre. Very good quarterback. Sam Freitas had a good game against Navarre last year over in Panama City. And then you got the district slate. You got Milton, Pace, and Gulf Breeze. Are you ready to win all three of those games and bring Coach Walls another district title?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
2 of them on the road. Next week we'll be at Milton. The following week at Pace. One thing, Coach never likes me to bring up this stat. Coach has never lost to Pace since he's been there. He's 13-0.
Yeah, knock on wood.
We don't have any wood here, so we're safe. So if you believe in those superstitions, throw it out the window. Only 1 loss to Milton, and 2 losses to Gulf Breeze. So he's 32-3 overall against the Santa Rosa County teams. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Going into this end of this year as we're finishing up, I know every kid has aspirations to go on and play at the next level. Do you have those?
I do. I do have aspirations.
When you do go off to college, what are you going to study?
I want to go into mechanical engineering.
Great field. You won't have any problem getting a job finishing that up. So 3-year starter. You look back over the last 3 years. Do you think that you're at where you thought you would be after each year as it progresses?
I mean, there's still things that I need to improve on. There's always room for improvement, but I mean, leadership-wise, yes, I am where I wanted to be sophomore year, and I mean, as a whole, I mean, that was really my biggest thing was leadership. I said that sophomore year and junior year. Was senior year I wanted to be the leader that this team needed. And, I mean, playing-wise, there's, like, running-wise for me that I didn't think that I was going to run at all. Last year I was just a pocket passer. I didn't really get out of the pocket much. But passing-wise, I mean, there's definitely been ups and downs, but I mean, there's still 5 more games left. So,
most definitely. But my favorite play of the season so far, I believe it was might have been the Tate game, where you took off, and I mean the hole to the left was massive. Your line's been doing an outstanding job all year long.
Oh, yeah.
I give them a lot of credit, the big bubbas as I call them. But they opened up that hole, and you got contacted down about the 10-yard line, and you gave that D-back kind of a stiff arm. And got down to the 1 on a 50-yard run when Navarre needed it after I believe Tate had gone down and scored very quickly. So you got Navarre back, and it's been nice to have a guy in the backfield like Connor Matthews this year, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's great.
You've been pretty blessed over the last couple of years with Eddie Love Jr. last year and Connor, and guy I like watching run is Andre Spence.
Yeah.
I say he runs nasty. He runs mean. He runs angry. There was a player at Navarre, is one of the assistant coaches now, Johnny Robinson. We called him Crazy Legs. But he ran angry as well. And I always love watching backs that run angry.
Yeah.
So we got Mosley Friday night. You guys ready?
We're ready, for sure.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we had Hunter Feaster, the starting quarterback for Navarre High. Thank you, Hunter, for coming on Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show.
Thank you.
Good luck this Friday and the rest of the season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, that was Hunter Feaster, starting quarterback for Navarre. He's a 3-year varsity letterman, and he's leading the Raiders this season. His backup is sophomore Roman Marshall. Roman's got in a couple of times earlier in the season. Roman should, going into next season, should take over the helm, the QB position at Navarre. The Raiders have a big game Friday night against Mosley. And we're going to go ahead now and take a commercial break. This Irish Bill with Irish Bill's Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show at Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown Navarre. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Thinking about selling your property? Call Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Realty in Navarre now. The consultation is free, and Ursula uses the best tools the industry has to offer. Her years as a top producer, relocation specialist, and Florida military market specialist will help you get the desired result. If you are buying, Ursula's experience will help you make an informed decision to find the right home for you. And if you mention this advertisement, Ursula will donate $100 to the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club when the deal closes. To find out if you qualify for any of the military rewards, call or text 850-642-5711 or email ursula.householder@cbrealty.com or go to urhouseholderhomes.com. That's urhouseholderhomes.com. Go Raiders!
Welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wings. This Irish Bill being joined by Coach Walls. Back for the second time. Can't get enough of this, huh?
Yeah, just love talking ball. Love hanging around with you guys.
Well, I had a chance to talk with one of your old coaches the other night. I got on the phone with Coach Greenhaw.
Yeah.
And he's a middle school coach now.
Yeah.
He moved from Tennessee down to Alabama, starting a new middle school.
Yeah.
And he's got a game coming up that within the next couple of weeks. He's going to be coaching against his son.
Really? I didn't know that. Yeah.
I guess his son is at one of the other bigger middle schools, so they've already labeled it the Greenhaw Bowl. So he's been commuting from Tennessee for an hour and a half each way, going every morning back and forth. But he's starting a new program there. A little bit better pay than what they were paying in Tennessee. And since he's got the math skills, he can teach the math, and he got a nice little increase in pay going back to Alabama.
Yep.
Mosley, big game last year against them, down 7 late. Hunter drives them down, a big fourth down conversion as he finds Eddie Love in the end zone, the game tying score, and then come back down, and Taylor Gardner hits the big game winner. Yeah. And I think that was the first time that we had beaten Mosley over there in quite a while.
Yeah, I think so. I know you're right there. And what a game. It was exciting. Came right down to the last play. We had a good night running the ball, throwing the football. Hunter played really well and came up with some big plays. And then, of course, the field goal to win the game.
They also have a very young team like Navarre does.
Yes.
They started a junior quarterback who we got to see last year. They have a big D-end. This guy is like 6'7".
Yeah, number 9.
Raiden Bruins, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to be playing D1 football somewhere next. Actually, he's only a junior, so he's got another year. Coach Whidden, have you had much connection with Coach Whidden in the past?
You know, when he was at Washington, I got to know him and knew of him before that just through coaching and his connection with Niceville. But, when he went over to Washington, I got to know him and, did such a great job over there. And then he's gone over to Mosley and really done well there also. He's a good guy. He's a football guy. Obviously, he's played it. He's coached it. I know he's married to his wife, John. Was at Niceville.
John Hicks.
John Hicks is his father-in-law. So he's a football guy.
What is it with coaches marrying other coaches' daughters? Because I know Coach Clayton is married to Jerry Pollard's daughter, and
I guess it's just a small football world, is right? But Tommy Joe is a really good coach, great guy, does a super job, and I'm glad that I've gotten to know him.
Well, last week we had the bye week. It gave a chance for the players that were banged up to get rested, get all those little battle wounds healed. Are they ready going into this game? Are they pretty healthy?
Yeah, we definitely are. We came out of the game against Carroll, pretty healthy, so that's been good. The last two games we played in, we've come out of there pretty healthy. And then the open week, some guys, definitely got some rest on Monday and Friday. We worked them pretty good on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But, you can tell our guys are feeling pretty good.
They're probably ready to get back out on a field and hit somebody, especially the defense.
No doubt. Yeah, we need to. We need to play.
But what a great offensive performance up at Carroll, a team that we had never faced before, with some very talented players on both sides of the ball.
Yes.
We've gotten the running game going the last few weeks, and Connor's been doing an excellent job back there.
He has, and his hard work has paid off. In practice, he's running really hard, trying to improve his game in practice. Every rep that he gets, and scored 4 touchdowns the other night. A lot of times he's got great holes to run through. Our O-line's doing a great job.
I tell you, this year they have been doing an outstanding job. You got 4 seniors on the O-line, one a junior. Was it Jacob Walsh?
Yep.
Is your only junior. So you're going to have a big hole to fill going in next season. But starting with Charlie Cottrell in the middle, he is your offensive line captain, is he not?
Yes. Yeah, he's the guy in the middle, returning starter. And Charlie, identifies the fronts, and they all have their calls and things they have to do each play. But Charlie definitely leads the way.
And Cameron Pollard, we had him on the show a few weeks ago. What a quiet young man. But when he gets on he kind of reminds me a little bit of a guy by the name of Anthony Miller. Yep. Anthony off the field, very quiet.
Yeah, quiet.
But when they get on that field, it's like they turn on a switch.
Yeah.
And they're not so nice.
Yeah, Cam is a big guy. He's a strong guy. He started since he's a sophomore, so very experienced, and he's playing really well for us at left guard.
And you got a couple out there, like I said, Jacob Walsh, the only junior. You have Jackson Spalla with an X. Don't make sure I messed that up once. And then you got Drew King over there as well. They've stayed pretty healthy for the most part this year.
Yeah, knock on wood. They've all 5, and that that makes a difference too when you're able to play your O-line consistently, the 5 same starters. There is a rhythm there. They have to work, all together, and, it really helps that those guys, knock on wood, have stayed healthy.
They've been opening up some pretty good holes for Hunter and for Connor. You had a young man that transferred into Navarre a few weeks before school started, and you had a lot of rebuild on your defensive line. How has Tristan Ferreira been filling in there on the defensive line for you?
He came in and we didn't know about him or know anything until the day that he moved in here at Navarre and came in and said he played football at I think Alberta High School.
Yep. They beat Northview last week.
Yep, and was a rising senior, also wrestles. But, definitely, a bigger kid, weighs about 240 pounds, strong kid. And anyway, he's come in and had to learn our system, learn our defense, and learn what we're doing. But he's been working hard and has caught on well and is doing a good job for us. Him, also Ezekiel Gasca.
Easy.
And then also Braxton Barr. Those 3 guys have really, been getting after it.
Well, you've already been known for switching out that D-line to keep guys in there with a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You like to run about 6 deep on the defensive line. You got another guy that he played basketball up till this past year. And how has Darius Cunningham been? How has he been exerting himself this year, his senior year?
Well, we wish he would have been with us the whole time because he's a great athlete, smart kid, pretty quiet guy. But he's another guy that we see improving every week. The more experience he gets, game experience, the better he's playing. And it's really been good that he came out this year. And like I said, I wish he would have come out. He played, when he was younger, but for whatever reason, when he came to the high school, he didn't. He played basketball.
And you don't see too many 6'4" safeties either out there.
Yeah, he's doing really well, and he's also playing some receiver.
And he filled in a lot for Terrence those first couple of games when Terrence was out.
That's right.
And him and Tyrell. Tyrell has been mainly back on the defensive side of the ball.
Yep.
He's probably happy to be doing just one thing now.
Yeah. Well, he wants to play all of it, and
they all do.
Yeah. But he has really he helped us out and does continue to help us out offensively. But definitely one of our big play guys on defense in the secondary.
Already a commit to Memphis, and I think he'll only get better once he hits the D1 level. They say big game Mosley, and then it's time for the 3-game stretch, the district play.
Yeah.
Looking forward to these next weeks. We're not looking past Mosley, but looking forward to the district games. Is you going to approach them differently, or are you just going to be, we got it going, let's just keep it going?
Well, every game is its own game. Every opponent is different. Once we get to next week, I've seen, some highlights on Mosley just on Prep Football Final. I haven't looked at any film on them. But we got to go up there. It's a county rival. It's a district game. Everything's still wide open for everybody.
Sure is.
So it's going to be a huge war, battle, just because of all those things I mentioned.
And the last time we went up there, they beat us.
Yeah.
And that's the first time that they beat us since you've been head coach.
Yeah.
So we got a little payback coming up next Friday night. But we're going to concentrate on Mosley this week. Coach Walls with Irish Bill on Buffalo Wild Wings Coaches Show. We're going to go out and take another commercial break. And thanks for coming on, Coach.
Bill, thank you.
Appreciate it.
You. All right.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raiders Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track, whether it's seeing to it that they're properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can watch and hear all exciting Navarre Raider football action. The Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks Navarre Raider Quarterback Club for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Welcome back to the B-Dubs Coaches Show here on Wednesday night. A couple of nights before we get back in the booth on Friday night. We got Mosley coming to town, Bob.
We do.
And we got to welcome this guy in across the table from us. We didn't
Villanova.
want you to see his face, actually. No, that's not the point.
The face for radio.
Most definitely. And we welcome Paul Villanova to the air. I got it right.
Also known as Valentino.
Valentino. You've probably been called worse before, though, haven't you, Paul?
Many times.
That's his witness protection.
Paul joined me on the show last Tuesday night, filling in for this guy. He thinks he wants every Tuesday off now.
Nope.
Big shoes to fill. So.
Oh, yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Big pants to
My
fill.
good friend Jake Warner checked in last night. Did a really good
great job.
Did a really good
He did
job.
a good job.
We told him about the games. We're going to give it how we did last week. Really, first week he did actually pretty good for not knowing these high school teams very well. Joe, of course, won again. When doesn't he win? He didn't win in college this week.
He didn't.
In fact, he finished last in college.
I saw
Did
that.
he win the high school by one?
Actually, he went 22-4. You and I went 21-5, and bringing up the backside.
And I do all the research.
You do too much research. That's the problem. I look at the team, and I say, yeah, that's how I pick.
Oh,
now,
I like
now
their
college games. I do a little bit more
I
research.
like their jerseys.
I look at the records, and then if it's evenly matched, I'll go with the underdog. It was 2-2 and 2-3.
This is who we got this week. Paul had to revamp his a little bit before the broadcast, which totally legal. It's legal, not illegal. And the first game we got Mosley at Navarre. All of us are taking Navarre. So it's the PB and J and Irish Bill taking Navarre. Bob and I taking Northview at Baker. You're going with Joe. You're siding with Baker, the home team. They got their first win last week.
Yep, they did.
Pine Forest at Niceville. We're all going with the Eagles.
Niceville.
Niceville Eagles. That's right.
I want to see if you catch that. And Catholic at Gulf Breeze. We all got the Crusaders going on the road and winning one. Pace at Pensacola. Pace, please take it easy on them. You're the older brother. They're the younger brother. Take it easy on your younger brother.
But I did see that they scored their first points last week.
They did. In the second quarter, they got their first touchdown under their new interim coach.
Yeah, the thing that bothers me about Pace, every time Nick Simmons runs the ball, if I was a fan, I'd hold my breath.
He's not very big.
No, and I'm sorry, at least what you and I saw Friday night, he's the team on offense. And God forbid he goes down. What do they got?
They got some studs on the defensive side of the ball as well.
True.
Tylon Lee, number 6.
Right.
Seems like he's still growing. He's like 6'4", 6'5", defensive end. He's a head taller. He is only a junior. Yeah. And
linebacker
and defensive end. So this week, Childs going to Crestview, district matchup there. We're all going with the road team in that one, Childs. Mariana at Walton, all going with Walton. West Florida at Tate. You three are taking West Florida. I am going with the home team, the Tate Aggies.
Yeah, I wish I could pull that one back, but that's okay. I'll leave it alone.
West Florida, all their losses.
My chance to pick one up on all three of you.
Yeah.
Godby going to Booker T. Washington. Paul went with the home team, the Wildcats. Godby played really well. They knocked off undefeated Mariana last week. And Joe, Bob, and I are going with Godby, and Paul's going with Washington.
Yeah, that might be one I had no clue.
South Walton at Choctaw. Both teams having a good season. Choctaw tough to beat on their home field.
Yes. Choctaw's 3-2. Walton is 4-2.
Next, we've got the biggest game in Tallahassee this week. Lincoln going across the town to Leon. Leon 5-0. Lincoln only lost one. They lost a game to Colquitt County pretty bad last week. Georgia team, that speaks for itself. Paul, Joe,
Stadium.
and myself are going with Lincoln, and Bob's going with the home team.
Yep, they're playing at Gene Cox Stadium. Gene Cox, legendary coach at Leon High School.
And they are 5-0 on the season. First time they've been 5-0, I think, since like the 1970s.
Wow. Probably.
So that big game there. Arnold at Rutherford. Hopefully someone scores in this game.
Combined records 0-10.
Really? That's wow. So
both teams looking for their first win.
Have they scored points? Has Arnold?
I thought Arnold.
They have scored, I believe.
On the field?
Yes.
Okay.
What they do on their own time, I don't care about.
On the road again.
There you go.
Florida High at Carrollwood Day, which means Florida High has to travel all the way down to Tampa. Carrollwood Day has come up and played Madison County the first week, but it was because of the weather. They only played a half, and they did not finish that game.
Carrollwood Day's only played 3 games, I think.
Bob, Paul, and I are taking Florida High. Joe's going with the home team in this one. St. John Paul II at Wakulla. War Eagles all over St. John Paul. You'd think they'd be a Christian name there or what? The Panthers.
You would think Crusaders maybe
John
or
Paul,
the Knights.
John Paul played Lincoln pretty good. It was only allowed Lincoln 17 points. John Paul, remember last year or the year before, they were a powerhouse. 0-4 this year.
Wow.
Looking for their first win. They won't get it this week.
Nope.
Destin 6-0, heading to Bozeman 5-0. A battle of unbeaten teams. And number 6 and number 7 in Irish Bill's Super 7 Panhandle rankings. And Paul goes with Destin.
I did, okay.
And us three are going with the Buccaneers of Bozeman.
So I pick one up on all of you right there.
You could. Monroe Day going to Baker. All of us going with Baker County over in Glen St. Marie.
Yep.
Holmes County at Jay. Jay, their first loss last week. Holmes County's been scoring a lot of points this year. Paul's going with the home team, Jay. So Holmes County's got to go a long way to play Jay.
I saw that. Both teams 4-1 on the season.
Yeah, now we're going to go over to Rocky Bayou. Paul had a slight change of opinion on this one.
Yep.
Osceola Christian going to Rocky Bayou. Osceola Christian unbeaten.
4-0.
Rocky Bayou gave up 67 last week to Monroe Day. So I think he thought of better days ahead.
Yes, I did. That was one of the ones. I heard you get doing the picks last night, and I heard you say Paul's going to lose that one. So I said maybe I should change that.
Rocky Bayou's 3-3 on the season.
They're in a tough district.
And they won last week. I think they won.
Let me see. Look at the sheet real
Rocky
quick.
Bayou
Rocky Bayou
pummeled.
67-6.
They lost.
They got beat.
Okay.
Next, we're going to move on down to Port St. Joe. They're overtaking on Vernon. All of us going with the Tiger Sharks there. Sneed's at Bluntstown. Sneed's down this year. Lost a lot of talent off last year's team. Heading over to Bluntstown. Which Bluntstown team's going to show up?
Right. Bluntstown 3-2. Sneed's 2-3. You're right. I mean, which team's going to show up?
Franklin County heading over to Cottondale. All going with the Hornets in that one. North Florida Christian at FAMU. No decision to be made there. That's an easy decision, by the way. Jefferson County at Gadsden County. We're all going with Gadsden County at home. Weewaw against a team that's played well the last couple of weeks, Liberty County.
What's their nickname?
They are the
Oh, dear.
Bulldogs.
Bulldogs.
Really?
Yep.
So there we go.
And their two losses are Mariana.
Thanks for the hit, co-pilot there.
Mariana and Port St. Joe are the losses for Liberty County.
And then we got Hamilton County heading over to Taylor County. Bob and I are going with the road team. Paul and Joe are going with Taylor County.
Hamilton.
Off this week. You got a stat for me?
Yeah, Hamilton 2-2, Taylor 0-4.
So Taylor
Hamilton
looking for their first win.
Hamilton is in Jasper, Florida.
Jasper.
That is northwest of Lake City on Highway 129.
I did not know that. See, you learn something new on this show.
I knew.
Every
Geography.
week.
Geography
You know
lesson.
Jasper, Indiana.
I do.
Yeah, that's where near where my grandmother lived, but I never heard of Jasper, Florida.
I had neither. So something new on the show this week. Off this week, Bay, Chipley, Escambia, Fort Walton, Freeport, Graceville, Madison County, Milton, North Bay, Haven, and Rickards.
So you mentioned Fort Walton being off. I imagine a lot of those guys will be in the stands Friday night watching the Navarre Raiders play against Mosley.
Yeah, I would have liked to made it out to the game last week, Pine Forest and Fort Walton. Could have seen a few former Navarre players there. But the Gulf Breeze, anytime Gulf Breeze gets beat at home, and Bob and I are there to watch,
It was rather quiet.
I can imagine.
The
first
splash
half was probably-
zone. The splash zone. Went,
you know what it was is the tide went out.
ooh.
So there was no water left on the shore. But now let's move over to college. Last week, three-way tie for the best. 20-5. Impressive. First week. He ties
80%.
Bob and I. We all three went 20-5. And, Joe, you're not the pick wizard anymore. You finished last week, 19-6. Still pretty darn
So
good.
cumulative between high school and college. Who won last week? Was it
Together?
Were we all tied?
Let's see. You and I are tied.
I'm down the list.
Actually, Joe, myself, and you all
We're all tied.
finished.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We finished with 41 wins and 10 losses.
Okay.
41 and 10 last week between the two. And
High school, I was almost at 10 wins, 10 losses.
yeah, it's 19-7 for Bob in high school, 20-5. So 39. So we were all pretty close last week.
All right.
Time for the colleges games. Joe on the season. Listen to this number. We've picked 134 games. Joe's gotten 121 of
Wow.
them right. You're tied with him at 121 as well. And I'm bringing up the rear at 119, only 2 games back. And Paul went 80% last week in his first week. But it's time for this week.
All right.
If you need, I got all the information here. So I know if you needed that, I could have sent that to you.
But you didn't.
I
You
didn't.
chose not to. I didn't have any records. I
Got
went in
to-
blind.
You got to do the research yourself, right, Bob?
Absolutely. It doesn't help me in high school, though.
I did the research on college.
I heard what you were saying about me last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd I say?
That I'm not very good at picking high school games. That was
You've gotten better over the years. Well,
at what?
picking college games.
Oh, okay. I said picking my nose.
Oh my
Well,
God.
please not on the air, please.
I'm looking right at you guys. Please stop.
Okay, Thursday night games.
Yep, got 2 of them.
Sam Houston. Notice they dropped the state off their team.
That's true.
They're at Liberty. No longer Hugh Freeze.
I'm not at liberty to tell you who I picked.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba.
That's one that I would do. But he beat me to the punch.
We're
all
contaminating.
all of us went for the Flames. That was a hot pick.
They're favored by 18.
Yeah. You didn't get my hot pick, the Flames.
I got it. But I'm bummed.
You can't have all the fun, Paul. Western Kentucky going on the road to Louisiana Tech. A tough place to play, but Western Kentucky's offense is legit.
Is the former UWF quarterback still there?
Austin Reed.
Yep.
Okay.
Second year at Western Kentucky. He also played at St. Augustine, so I've seen a lot of him over the last few years. So we're all going with it's PB and J.
PB
Paul,
and J.
Bob,
PB and
and
J.
Joe. And Irish Bill.
Irish Bill. Western Kentucky favored by 8.
Then we went with Western Kentucky. Friday night games, Kansas State at Oklahoma State. We're all going with the
Kansas State.
Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Yeah. I was
There you
waiting
go.
to see if you're going to answer me or not.
Jayhawks.
That's
No,
good.
that's across state.
Kansas State, one of the teams looking at Our wide
Terrence
receiver.
Marshall.
Yep.
Tyrell.
Yep.
Terrence.
Yep.
K-State favored by 12.
We're all going with K-State. Nebraska at Illinois. Illinois got pummeled last week, but Bob's going with Nebraska.
Both teams 2 and 3. Illinois favored by 3.
And the rest of us
Illinois,
going with
right?
Illinois. And Coach Bielema, I think he gets larger every week I watch him play.
He's lifting a lot.
Yeah, he's lifting a lot. Not lifting himself away from the table. But good coach. Can't take that away from him. But so Paul, Joe, and I are taking Illinois. Bob's taking Nebraska. Saturday games. I call this a possible upset alert. Maryland at Ohio State.
Yeah.
Remember a couple years ago when Maryland went up there
Did.
and Ohio State beat them 52-50 on a 2-point conversion.
Ohio State remembers that too, so I don't see it happening.
So I believe there's an 18-point spread.
19 and
19.
maybe 18 now. 11 a.m. kick on Fox.
But even as close as we think it may be, we're all going with Ohio State. LSU at Missouri. Which Tiger is going to jump this week?
That's another one I wish I had rethought because I took LSU, I believe. I think
did?
Missouri's going to win that game, but I
Do
won't
ya?
switch it. I do.
Really strong defense by Coach Drinkwater, and should be a really good game. I don't think they'll be giving up 55 points this week, though.
LSU favored by 6.5. You know, Vegas may know something. Their big buildings in Las Vegas didn't get built for no reason. But that is a potential. I could see that as an upset. 11 a.m. kick on ESPN.
And one of the best rivalries out there in the Big 12, number 12 Oklahoma travels to Texas for the Red. Actually, are they playing in Dallas this year?
The Red River rivalry.
Red River
I'm not
rivalry.
sure. It's a good
Playing at the
question.
Cotton Bowl.
Cotton Bowl?
Cotton Bowl.
I heard Dallas, but I heard they're playing at the Cotton Bowl.
Okay, so they're not going to Jerry's World. They're going to the Cotton Bowl.
Correct.
11 a.m. kick on A.B.
This is another PB&J pick for Texas. But this is Irish Bill's chance to say, not so fast, my friend.
I heard
I'm
something on
going
the
with
radio
Oklahoma.
today that they said that game is probably the one game that you'll have exactly 50% fans on each side of the field. Because they come from all over.
They split them right down the middle. So if you look from one end to the other,
it's red and whatever Texas is orange, right? Red and orange?
burnt orange.
Hook 'em.
Texas only favored by 5.5.
I'm going with Oklahoma.
Is Texas number 1 right now in the country?
Michigan's number 2. Georgia's 1.
Okay.
So we got Syracuse, North Carolina. North Carolina, number 14. Clemson had their way with Syracuse last week, and I think North Carolina will this week as we all took the Tar Heels. The Cougs of Washington State, still unbeaten. They've moved up to number 13. Pac-12 Dave is having a tizzy.
Yes, he is.
His Cougs are unbeaten. They're going to L.A. to play UCLA.
Upper Crestview, Lower Alabama. 3.5 point favorite of the Bruins. 2 p.m. game. If you want to watch it, hey, listen, this is a good contest.
It is.
You may not be able to watch it, though.
What channel is it on?
The Pac-12 Network.
Uh-oh, where is that?
I have no idea.
Probably the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Possibly. But we're all going with the Cougars on the road.
Cougs.
Wake Forest at Clemson. Wake Me Up Forest at Clemson, who's been struggling a little bit on offense, but I think they're starting to right the ship. We're all going with Clemson. Rutgers at Wisconsin. It's homecoming at Madtown, and it's a tough place to play it on homecoming in Madison. We're all going with the Badgers in that one.
Yep.
Marshall.
They're 4-0, Bill.
76 years since the plane crash.
Yep.
How many? 76
76 years.
Wow. I would never have guessed
76?
that. Is it 70? No. When was it? It was in the 70s. Maybe 56.
Yeah.
that. Okay.
We'll see. I'll look that
and
up.
you're with the math guy. Carry the one.
And I'm usually
Take
the
off
stat
your
guy,
shoes.
too.
I'm like 76 years. It happened in my
Well,
lifetime.
you
so
guys
I know-
talk, and I'm going to do some online production here. So,
All right, Bob, what do you want to talk about?
Well, let's see. Marshall's 4-0. NC State 3-2. NC State
Marshall.
favored by 6. It's on the CW network. I have no idea what the CW network is.
53 years.
53 years, yeah.
Yes. And great movie. I love the movie.
We are Marshall.
We are.
Who do we have in that game, in the Marshall game?
You had a Marshall originally, but you thought better and changed your mind.
I did, yeah.
So we're all going with NC State in that one. Number 11, Alabama, going to Texas A&M. I almost picked A&M this week. They were playing good ball right now, but you just can't count out Nick Saban.
No, you can't. They're favored by 3.5. Last year at this time, and the only reason I know this is because I wrote it down and then saw where it was 2022. Last year at this time, they were favored by 23.
Wow. And what was the score? Did they win?
Yeah, I think Bama did win. This year they're favored by 3.5. 2:30 kick on CBS.
Next, we're heading over to Tallahassee. Virginia Tech.
FSU.
One of the best pre-games, but they do not play very well at Tallahassee.
Remember the Sandman, one of the first games my daughter Alyssa went to when she was 9 years old. Quarterback was the lefty who got in trouble with pet bulls. What was his name?
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick.
He went down. Florida State ref the passer again. Their backup quarterback went down. We won that day.
Yeah,
but
third string quarterback.
We will. The Grant family will be in the stands. Parents' weekend in Tallahassee.
Nice.
25 and a half.
This weekend you're going over there.
Yep.
Nice.
After the game.
After the Navarre victory over Mosley.
I'm not going to miss 2 weeks in a row.
Thank you.
Wally Pipp.
That's
it.
it.
You probably wonder why we keep saying Wally Pipp. Can you explain Wally Pipp to those fans that don't remember Wally Pipp?
Well, he was the starting first baseman for the Yankees. He got injured, and Lou Gehrig came in.
Took his spot.
Took his place. And
did Gehrig play a lot of games in a row after a game?
2,136, I think.
And there's only one person.
Unfortunately,
there's only one person who's played more.
Shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles.
Cal Ripken.
And, you know, it's a shame for Wally Pipp they didn't have the DH because that's probably what he'd be doing, right?
But he's famous now.
Yeah.
He might not have been
Wally
famous had he kept playing. He might not have been famous.
Yeah. Did he get traded?
I don't remember.
And we got a comment from Shelby Pritchett. You know Shelby?
He's my next door neighbor.
Said, just logging in. How about Tyler Daniels doing good? Tyler is having an amazing season. 24 for 24 extra points, 5 for 5 field goals. And she said, and Vinny Villanova is a straight beast. Those are comments.
You know,
hello, Shelby.
You know, the Chicago Bear coach probably would have gone for the field goal if they had Tyler Daniel kicking the football.
Yeah.
He said,
what was he thinking?
Well, their only sure thing in Chicago has been the kicker. Cairo Santos has not missed a kick all year long.
Yeah.
And that's for another show. That was last night's show. I'm not going to bring it up tonight.
But Tyler, we're not going to jinx him, but he's having a great season.
He is having a great season. Vanderbilt at Florida.
We didn't say who we picked in Bama.
Oh, we all picked Bama.
I thought I picked Texas A&M.
Nope.
All right,
look back at your notes.
Roll Tide.
In fact, you got Alabama underlined.
Roll Tide.
I will not say that. You know that. UCF going to Kansas.
Good game.
Big 12 game. Paul and Joe are taking UCF. Bob and I are taking the home team, Kansas, the Jayhawks.
UCF
Lawrence, Kansas.
That's right. Favored by 3 p.m. kick on Fox. UCF gave up a big lead to Baylor.
Former Ole Miss quarterback and wide receiver John Rice Plumlee is the starter at UCF.
Really?
Yep.
Transfer portal.
Yeah, and Kansas, they lost their quarterback last week, so it should be interesting to see how this game matches up.
Ruh-roh.
Vanderbilt heading to Florida. Straight up, I go with the Gators, but I think Vanderbilt will actually cover the spread.
What is
Florida
the line?
favored by 17.5.
Oh, yeah.
3 p.m.
Vanderbilt always plays Florida
They do.
tough.
Another team that outsmarts them.
There you go, the outsmart comment.
This game's at 3 p.m. on the SEC network.
Yeah,
Sorry.
SEC Network.
Yep.
Let's head over to Athens, Georgia, hosting a
I
very,
changed
very
my pick.
hot Kentucky Wildcat team.
Georgia favored by 15. 6 p.m. kick on ESPN. I'm changing my pick.
You're
You are
changing your
too?
pick.
Can
Okay.
I do? Am I allowed to do
You're
that?
allowed to do
You're
that.
the game master now.
Yep, you're allowed to do that.
I'm going with the Wildcats
You and me both.
Wildcats.
over the Bulldogs.
I need your pen to make
Pen?
What's the running back's
the
name?
official
He had an
change.
unbelievable name.
Oh, my
unbelievable
gosh.
game,
Last week he went for 280 against Florida, a team that doesn't normally allow a lot on the ground.
Georgia.
So
If-
Bob and Paul are going with the upset Kentucky.
If Georgia 2022 played Georgia 2023, who would win?
Oh, I think
22.
it'd be a 10-point spread.
22.
22 would
Yeah.
win hands down.
And I think if Georgia comes out and plays like they can, and they come out mean and nasty, they'll win that game by a lot. They'll cover the spread. But if they don't, I think that Kentucky can play with them and will pull the upset. It's just which Georgia's going to show up. In the second half of the game last week, they did.
But Auburn always plays Georgia tough. And they always play tough at home as well.
Yeah.
Kentucky's still undefeated. May save Mark Stoops' job. I know he was on the hot seat.
They got a team this year with transfer quarterback from North Carolina State.
Right?
And Devin Leary.
Yes.
I'm a little leery of it, but that's all right. We're good.
I'm a little leery of that one, too. Let's move on to Louisville. This is number 25 Louisville hosting number 10 Notre Dame. What a comeback by Sam Hartman last week.
Oh, yeah.
95 yards. 4th and 16, he runs the ball for the first down, 17 yards. Next play, Audric Estime goes in from 30 yards out. They get the 2-point conversion, go up 7, and they hold Duke. Duke, I am very impressed with Duke. And
We got Duke in 2-3 weeks.
And they are better defensively than offense.
I
And
might
hopefully
change
they're
my
young.
pick on this
I
game.
don't know if their quarterback's
Just
going to
kidding.
be. Is their quarterback going to be?
Give me the mic. Somebody take away his mic.
Ike and Mike.
We're going with Notre Dame, but it will be not an easy game for Notre Dame going into Louisville.
Catholics favored by 7. Louisville is undefeated. Notre Dame 5-1. 6:30 kick on ABC after the Florida State game. Florida State will be on.
So you better not play a long game. Get it over quick so my game can come on time. Please.
I could just see a scenario where God forbid, the game goes into overtime and
we could have a Texas
switch.
We could have a Texas A&M Mississippi State game with seven overtimes.
Mm-hmm.
72 to 70.
And they turn it over, and Louisville's up like 21-0 or something. And Bill, whatever hair he has left on his head, will be in the front lawn. But no,
the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's
been
last
rough.
week in the Ohio State game.
It's been rough.
It's
the Bears, the White Sox.
My luck on my teams has to change eventually. But Notre Dame, I'm pleased with Notre Dame, but they played 2 tight games, and I don't know how much the Heart's going to take that anymore.
Oh, Bob, you didn't hear what I said last night. The reason Notre Dame won this past weekend against Duke is they remembered to put 11 people on the field for the last
That
play. Of the
usually
game.
helps. Ba-dum-bum. Speaking of Hart, Sam Hartman. I mean, he really impressed me as a person. You mentioned it on the air last night when he stayed after to check on the Duke.
Oh yeah, yep.
Besides having, I have a man crush on him.
I think in fact, I might stop watching Notre Dame because my wife has fallen in love with Sam Hartman.
Oh my goodness!
Well, at least she's watching the game with you and not heckling.
Normally, she doesn't watch Notre Dame's games, so I didn't sense that early on in the year.
Now
She's
you know
watching
why.
Notre Dame. Now I know why she's watching the game.
Well, she only watches it when they're on defense because that's when he has his helmet off on the sidelines.
But he's been the thing that Notre Dame has needed to put him over the top this year.
Could you imagine if he'd been there 4 or 5 years, Bill?
Wow.
Dynasty.
Where did he come from?
Wake Forest.
Oh, okay.
Wake Fungus.
Graduate
yeah.
transfer. 1 year out left because of COVID. This is his 6th year in
Gotcha.
college football. Don't know what he'll do in the pros. Little undersized, but he's got what you can't teach, and that's heart.
He's got a pretty good arm on him.
He's got heart, man.
Heart.
Oh, God. I didn't even pick up on that one, but good job,
Didn't you have
Bill.
a running back by that name?
Yeah.
Hart.
Kevin
Hart. It was Michigan.
Really?
Not Kevin Hart, but he tried to mix me up there, but it was Hart.
I got him.
He's actually a
Billy Hamilton.
He's one of my favorite Pensacola Blue Wahoos of all time, Billy Hamilton, the speedy guy. Michigan at Minnesota. I think it's the JV schedule of Michigan continues.
6 o'clock or 6:30 on NBC.
Favored by what? 40?
As a matter of fact, 20.
Not enough.
Have the oars come off? Are they rowing in the same direction?
No, I think they went out with the tide with the splash zone in Gulf Breeze.
I think so too. Minnesota at home for this one, but
the Gophers.
all you can do is play what's on your schedule.
That's
and,
it.
And Minnesota.
And that's why they play the game. We're all going with Michigan in a route.
Yep.
Arkansas goes into Ole Miss, 55 points against that LSU defense last week. Did you see that coming?
I did not see that coming.
No.
And I think they're going to do the same thing to Arkansas.
Did Arkansas
this week.
lose last week? They played in Jerry's World.
They lost to A&M.
A&M, okay.
2-3 versus Ole Miss 4-1. Ole Miss favored by 10.5.
Sorry, James Pritchett, but I'm going with Ole Miss. He's an Arkansas diehard fan.
They could have a hangover, and maybe Arkansas keeps it close.
I don't think so. But we all take Ole Miss there. Colorado heading to Arizona State. An evenly matched up game. I think the spread is like 1.5.
Come
on, Bob. You got one job to do, is to provide me spreads.
I'm
not talking like a salad bar or something.
Sorry, they're favored by 4.5.
4.5.
4.5, okay. So I was thinking home field advantage. Is Colorado favored?
It's at Arizona State, 5:30 kick on
the Pac-12 network.
Yep.
Wherever you can find it. We're all going with Colorado when they get back to their winning ways
Prime
this week.
time.
You'd think that somebody would pick them up. ESPN2, Fox.
See if we could flex to somebody's schedule.
Peacock, somebody, rather than place you can't.
You know who's been running under the radar most of this year?
Miami.
Our next game. Georgia Tech at Miami, number 17. Unbeaten.
Sure are 4-0. They're favored by 18 over Georgia Tech, who's 2-3. 7 p.m. kick on the ACC network. Florida State has Miami at home this year.
And this is also a PB&J game. That means all of us are – I'm going to use that from now on. When we all take the same team, it's PB&J.
PB&J.
That's our PB&J pick. Next game as well, Fresno State at Wyoming. What's one fact about Fresno State this year, Bob?
Second longest winning streak in the country. I listened last night. They're the Bulldogs.
14 in a row, I believe.
Yep, 5-0. Wyoming 4-1. Fresno's only favored by 5.
Have you ever been to Laramie?
Wyoming?
No.
It takes a while to get there from anywhere.
It's nobody's covering it. 7 p.m. kick. No TV.
Irish Bill Sports.
That should tell you everything right there. Oregon State heading to Cal. Berkeley take on the Golden Bears.
The other Golden Bears.
All of us, Oregon State, in that one as a PB&J pick. And Arizona at number 9, USC, another PB&J pick.
With USC.
With USC.
USC favored by 21.
Let's see what time we got here. We're rolling right along at 9:30. I think it's about time to call it quits here. Well, we'll get to our Gulf South Conference and our SIAC next. We'll bring them up Tuesday night.
I'll be there.
And what a show.
Guess what? This Friday night.
We had Coach Walls on twice.
We did.
Twice.
Yeah, how come?
It was a doubleheader.
He was ready to go on a second.
He loves football.
Man.
And
I mentioned when I was interviewing him the line from Remember the Titans, where he goes on the field and he breathes and he goes, this is my cathedral. And then one of the boosters comes up and goes, Coach, I just want to let you know, if you lose a game, you're out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
way to be a wet blanket.
But I can tell you that that will not happen with this coach.
No, no. I'll be on top of the roof.
We
this
will.
Week.
Hey, has anybody looked at the forecast for Friday night?
80 degrees.
20. Did you say the
20.
dirty word?
20%. That's.
Don't say the R word.
No, and our luck will be 20% right on top of the roof.
Rain.
That's right.
I like that.
And the following week, Milton, I'll be out. I'll be out of town. And
Paul Valentino.
Mr. Valentino.
Cynthia has more than graciously allowed Paul to do the game in your absence.
Paul for 4 quarters, man. 60 minutes of Paul Villanova.
48.
Hopefully we get to score a lot of
48.
High
touchdowns.
school.
Yeah.
And I will let you do, when they score, I'll let you do your call.
Go ahead.
Touchdown Raiders!
There he goes, and we're gonna break on that. 1, 2, 3, break. Until Friday night from Bennett Russell Stadium, where the Raiders will be back at home, hosting the Dolphins. No, not that Dolphin team. The one from the east in Panama City.
From the water.
4-2 Mosley at 3-2 Navarre. And you can watch it live on IrishBillSports.com. Irish Bill Sports live on YouTube. And you can watch it here if you're not able to make it to the game at Buffalo Wild Wings and at Culver's of Navarre. And if you decide to stay home, we're not going to fault you. You can watch it there as well on your big screen TV, your smart TV.
That's right.
So until Friday night from Bennett Russell Stadium, Seminole Bob, Irish Bill, may the wind ever be at your back. We'll see you on Friday night.
Good night, Navarre, and God bless.